The next step is to put the shims on the workboard, and as you can see, it's best if we pre-drill them. And the pre-drilling is just so that when we put in the brads, it doesn't split. So on this shim, we want it on the inner line, and actually just on the inside of the inner line. And if you drill the holes a little bit too large, angle the brad towards the center. Make sure they're flush, and it will hold just fine. And these shims are not, the position is not as critical, so don't worry about how close they are to the line. So the reason for the shims, as you can see on the side, we've cut out the 1/8 inch notch. However, when we finish the body of the Kirar, it's going to be curved. So it's going to actually be in a barrel shape. So what we want to do is rise the frame, the assembly, off of the board so that will make the size long. It will stick down to the board, and that will be our depth, and then we can curve it, and that'll become more obvious when we get to that step. So that's the reason for them. So the next thing I want to do is I want to actually screw this in place, and because this part of the neck will be hidden by the top of the Kirar, we can put holes in it and it's not going to show up. I'm going to attach the Kirar to the workboard with 2-inch screws. You can use any size screw. This is 1 inch thick. This is approximately 1.5 inches. So we don't want to go all the way through, although you could. It's just that it would be uncomfortable and might get in the way later on the assembly. But anything from 1.5 inches to a 2.5 inch screw will be fine. So the first step is I use a drill bit to put in a pilot hole. So put in 2 pilot holes. Go all the way through the workboard. Now the next thing I want to do is on the back side. So I want to countersink those holes so when the screws go in, they'll sit flush. So I align my Kirar assembly on the workboard and I clamp it in place, making sure to keep the clamp away from where we put the holes, and the holes are underneath this section right here. Make sure it is aligned properly, because this is where, once we screw it in, this is where the Kirar is going to be staying for a while as we put on the sides and the top. So once I have that, now we just have to screw it in. Should have made the holes slightly larger, and I think we can get it in there. Is now all screwed in. The screws are nice and flush. Turn it over. Remove the clamps. And you can see our workboard is attached to our Kirar. And now we can proceed with bending the sides and installing them. But first I'm going to glue on these glue clamps. They go right on the inside. Let me show you what they look like. So we're going to put one right there, and the other one we're going to put right here on this line. And so when we glue up, it will glue up and attach, and you'll see that. So I'm going to glue and clamp this to the side. So apply a little bit of glue. We don't need a lot. And you want to be sure that if you get any squeeze out in the front right in here, it will prevent the side from being attached correctly. So you want to clean that up if you end up with some. Make sure we're right on our line. That moved a little bit, so I'll readjust it. And sometimes when we clamp up, things shift around, and we want to make sure that we have it as close as possible. And the fact that it's sitting down is not an issue. We'll take care of that later. So we'll let that dry for 30 minutes and we'll move on. So in the meantime, I'll set up so I can start the bending.